Hello and welcome. I'm your host Vinita, and this is Women of Now podcast. Our guest today is Samudyata, also dearly known as Sam, is on the leadership team of a tech firm. She has pursued women's leadership from IIM-Calcutta and is a Chevening CRISP Fellow 2020 at the University of Oxford. Sam is passionate about diversity and inclusion, believes in the cause of a just and equal world. A culinary and travel enthusiast, she blogs her experiences at Samu Says. A proud mom of two, chasing the mythical work-life balance just like every other woman. Welcome, Sam. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be on here. And thank you for thinking of me to be a part of this show. I look forward to our interaction today.
That's awesome. Let's do this. Sam, take us back in time to your college days and your transition from student to professional life.
Wow. So I did my engineering at Saram Vishwesvaraya Institute of Technology, which is here in Bangalore. I pursued my engineering in information science. And I think I had a fantastic, 4 years at MVIT. And I made some of my best friends for life in engineering, and you know how that is. Um, Much against how every other engineering college is, my college was really far off from the center of the city. So most of my day kind of was spent in just traveling to college, and but we were amidst like nature, and the campus was probably about 150 acres, big. And yeah, we didn't get to eat much of junk food, and we didn't really get opportunities to bunk classes and go watch movies because we were really cut off from civilization. But it was a fantastic experience.
Awesome. So you started your career as a technical consultant at Wipro. How did you get into the role, and given a chance, what are the things that you want to do differently?
So I was taken as a campus recruit at MVIT, and Wipro was my first job, and it was the first job offer that I got, and I was supremely, satisfied with my job offer. I think I was really happy-go-lucky, back now that I look back, and I didn't feel the need to, look around, apply at another job, and I mean, Wipro is such a great brand to be associated with. So it was my first job, and I ended up spending about 8 years of my career at Wipro. And
Wow.
yeah, uh, I a big part of my career I owe it to Wipro. I was surrounded by some of my best mentors, some great teammates who were very encouraging and supportive of my abilities and my career choices, and they would really try to align the roles that I played at Wipro, um, you know, uh, align it with my interests so that I could give it my best. Um, so looking back, I don't think I would have done anything different with Wipro. Yeah.
Awesome. Since you mentioned that you have spent 8 years at Wipro, I think this question would align a lot with you. It's not uncommon, right, for anyone to feel trapped and miserable when they are in a continuing in the same job for a longer time. So, did you face any such questions, as in, is this the right thing that I'm doing? Am I in the right industry? How does it look 10 years down the line? Do I have the right skill sets, or do you think I have to upskill, or move on to a new thing altogether? So what was going through your mind, and how did you approach those questions that you had?
Wow. Uh, Vinita, I don't know if it's a thing that we all uh, kind of struggle with
Hmm.
as women. I think
Hmm.
we are all overthinkers, right? So
Right.
regardless of where we are and what we're doing, and at least I am that. I am always thinking and overthinking, and I'm not saying that's the best thing.
Hmm.
Um, Consistently taking stock of where I am, what am I doing, where am I headed, is this making me happy, etc., etc. I think that's an endless quest,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, uh, no matter what stage of your life, and whether it's your career, whether it's your relationships, whatever it is. So if you're constantly reflecting on our path and on our choices. Yes, there have been days that I have been, that I haven't felt so great about, what I'm doing. Especially when I was working with my first job. So what happened is my travel time sometimes used to take about 4.5 hours a day.
Wow,
And
that's a
that used to
long
be,
journey.
that used to, yeah, that used, yeah, I used to leave home at 6:30 in the morning, right? Regardless of what time I would get back from work. And there were days that I've gotten back at 2 a.m. And again at
Mm-hmm.
6:30, I would find myself, trudging through Bangalore traffic. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the days that, I have, questioned my choices. Why am I traveling this far? What am I achieving sitting in this bus for the next 4.5 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could have probably slept more. I could have probably gone to the gym, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have gone through these questions and these processes, and wherever I felt that I've hit a roadblock, I've pretty much solutioned um, that thinking. Um, so so these things have really shaped up my, the other career and job choices that I've made. Now I've made it a personal uh, commitment, right? I
Mm-hmm.
will not be on the road for more than an hour.
Wow,
So I
that's amazing.
consciously look out, I
Mm-hmm.
consciously look out for a role which
Mm-hmm.
is close by home. And that is obviously very limiting, but this is something that I don't want to compromise on. I don't want to spend 3 hours on the road. I would rather spend those 2 extra hours with my kids or with myself. Just sleep, a couple of hours extra, or even pick up a book.
Right.
So I have redefined, yeah, I've redefined my choices like that.
Right. And do you think, with companies moving to a hybrid model or, a complete work from home model would address concerns like this, especially for, working moms or, someone with more responsibility towards the parental side or taking care of in-laws?
Yeah, so that's a very valid and pertinent question, Vanita. And I think the days of this question being pertinent only for women is long gone, right?
Right.
With our
Yes.
generation, we even have our spouses, our husbands who are working in, who are kind of who are helping shoulder an equal responsibility towards raising of kids. So
Right.
in-laws on both sides.
Right.
So we are now a society where both the man and the woman are giving, and I think flexibility is of a prime, um, uh, it's prime, right? You need
Mm.
to have a job which is flexible, which is accommodative of your personal callings and as and when it happens. And it's not that every day you need that kind of flexibility.
Right.
And when you kind of look at it from a personal angle, families always are just, oh, you have a job, you have an important meeting. And
Right.
it's equally important for the organization also to, kind of give you that kind of space to operate and thrive.
That's an
So
excellent
yeah,
point
with
that you
the
made.
hybrid, with the hybrid working model, I think face to face interactions are very healthy. It is required. you know uh, it's great to have a virtual working option as well.
Right.
It's about, striking the right balance for oneself and the organization.
Absolutely. Coming to motherhood, you're a mom of two adorable kids, and you did take a break from your career to be a full-time mom. What was going through your mind back then? Did you think that you would be able to make it back successfully, or did you have a self-doubt? Will this break affect my career in the longer term?
um Looking back, I I was very clear about a few things in my head, right? So I was gonna get this degree, I was gonna go to this college, get this degree, and then I was gonna go work, I was gonna play these kind of roles, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'd move on to have my family. And in my head, somehow the working and having a family did not exist
Mm-hmm.
together,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I put down my papers, when I conceived my first child, I went through the maternity break. I in fact kind of tried going back to work for some time, and then I was on my way to have my second child. And when I put on my papers, then it was in
Mm-hmm.
my head. I'm like, okay, I'm hanging my career
Mm-hmm.
boots right now. I'm done. I'm done
Mm-hmm.
with the corporate life, and here I am with my two kids. I'm just going to focus on my two children. I never thought that I want to go back to working again, because there was this definition of a mother that I wanted to be. For instance, I nursed both my children for 2 years, right?
Okay.
And that was something that I could never uh, that was a non-negotiable for me. But there's no way I could have gone to work, because we did not have any exclusive place to pump, right? Or to nurse kids. We didn't have facilities where we could take little kids along with us. So the choices were clear. You either stay back at home and you nurse your child, or you quit your job and you nurse your child.
Right.
So I thought I was done. And but then I found myself reflecting on my choices. So as my children were growing up, and I would often ask myself, so what is the example setting that I'm doing to my daughter? Is it going to be like she's probably going to pursue the best education, and all to not use any of her mental faculties for anything else outside of just raising children, while raising children is a fantastic thing to do. I'm sure there are many more things to us, right? So
Right.
when you have children, you start looking at yourself and the world very differently. And I did not have convincing answers for myself, and I really found it very important, both for me and my kids, that I get back to work and I restart. Yeah. So that was the decision to going back to work. And the question was, how easy or difficult was it to get on the workforce, right?
Right.
It was really hard. It was really hard, because I had taken a break, and every interview that I would go to, um, I was being kind of asked as to explain as to why I went on a 2-year break. What is it that I did? In fact, I remember at one of it was a big technology company, a very famous one at that. The HR asked me as to um, she really kind of underplayed my skill, and she offered a salary. She basically offered a pittance of a salary for my experience, and I questioned as to, I said, just because I've taken a maternity break, and a lot of people can take breaks. Some people take breaks to travel, some people, and I had children. And
Right.
she's like, okay, so tell me, what is the exact skill that you earn that I should pay you more? I said, I have learned the skill of multitasking, and I've come back with more confidence and better, self assurance, that I can manage not only work, a lot of things outside of work. And more than anything, I learned how to be a good mother. So I don't think I should justify beyond this. Then I walked out of that interview and I did not take up that offer. But it was not an easy comeback.
Right. I think a lot of us can relate to that. At this point, post your maternity leave, you coming back to join the workforce, you also went on to study, successfully completed
Yeah.
the leadership course at IIMC, and then you were also shortlisted for Chevening CRISP Fellowship at Oxford. Tell us more about this. How were you able to juggle so many things at a time?
Yeah, so the first year that I got back to work, right, and I was finding my footing in the workplace, at home. I was trying to get my balance right, and I'm lucky to say I've had like amazing bosses who are very, very supportive of my choices. Not only just my bosses that I reported into, even my clients, right? So I think I've just been really lucky to be surrounded by the right kind of support system at home and outside of home. So I got my footing in place, and I spent the next 1 year, building myself, reskilling, upskilling, and all of that. And there was a constant
Mm-hmm.
voice which made me say, hey, I need to go beyond this. What if I just went back to college
Mm-hmm.
15 years later, right? So that's when I came across this program for women and transitioning into leadership by IIM-Calcutta. And then I applied. My application got shortlisted. I made it through the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were days I was juggling work, client, and the evenings would be doing my homework, attend classes. It was, and of course, kids and balancing everything at home.
Right.
It was definitely challenging. It was not easy, but that is something I look back upon with a lot of pride, and there's a and there's a sense of achievement, that you feel.
Right.
Yeah, and I think each and every one of us should strive to get back into these things. I mean, it could be going back to college or picking up some hobby which you always thought that you should have probably learning to play the guitar or whatever that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It adds a different dimension to you, and it makes you a lot more confident person in your abilities.
Absolutely. Post this, you also thought of a career transition, right? You were working as a technical lead at PwC at this point, and then you thought of changing, career path completely, chose a path of becoming a digital transformation expert at Maveric Systems. Why did you take a call of, a transition at this point, a time of your career?
So the first 2 years in my first job, I used to code, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was not bad at it. I was quite good at it, and but there were also a lot of people who were equally good at it. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow it just the fact that I'm writing all these pieces of code, and I would ask myself, okay, so where is this going? What is it doing? So what is the business impact that this piece of code is having?
Mm-hmm.
And as a coder, you really don't have too much of a window to that. And that's when I
Correct.
realized I want to play more functional roles.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to I remember my delivery manager, his name is Durai.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I went back to Durai and I said, Durai, while this is great, what is it that I need to do to become a business analyst? He's like, so is this what you want to do? I said, yeah. I think I have a lot of other abilities which could come a lot more handier, and I think I'm going to enjoy being, in
Mm-hmm.
a customer facing role.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I've had great mentors in the past and even now. So he immediately put me on to, programs which is going to kind of skill me in that direction.
Right.
And I started playing a lot of functional roles in Wipro itself. And then I think
Mm-hmm.
my career path was like a natural progression. So I was very clear that I wanted to play more functional roles. And that
Mm-hmm.
moved on to playing, pre-sales and consulting roles. And yeah, that's how the career path kind of, paved for itself.
Awesome.
It's The choices are made purely based on what I think are my abilities and where my interests lie.
Awesome. So, with the spearheading digital revolution, right now you had the now that you had the digital transformation, how much of AI, big data is going to have an impact from a gender perspective?
Wow. That's a great question, Vanita. And I think all of us are striving to kind of, have a world which is an equal world, right? An equal a just world, so that um everyone has an equal opportunity. However, we are far, far away from that, right? We are probably, I mean, so a lot of statistics say that the rate at which, we need to catch up just to have the pay parity, close. It's probably going to take us the next, I don't know, 150 years or so. Are we willing to wait those many number of years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Technology, I think, is going to play a huge role, especially with AI systems and the kind of, bias that is going to percolate into these systems. It is
Mm-hmm.
just going to, I don't think it's going to help the cause. But because we have a lot of people who are working on being conscious of the kind of bias that is entering into these systems, will
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, have technological solutions, which is a lot more. And I want to use the word ethical, because if it is not,
Mm-hmm.
if there is no equality, I think it's unethical, right? So we will strive towards a more ethical and viable technology enabled future.
Absolutely. That's a great one. Before we close out, Sam, what is your mantra to ignore negativity and, have complete faith in yourself? Because as I have seen you and I've known you over the years, I have never seen a brave, strong woman like you. So what is it that you follow? What is that principle that you follow, no matter what turn your plans take, so that you stick to you and you're very, very sure that you are supposed to do this and you're going to do this?
Um, Thank you for that, Vinita. Life is going to throw curveballs at you, right? Whether you like it, whether
Absolutely.
you don't like it, when you anticipate it, when you least anticipate it. Um, so there are a couple of things that I do personally. One is I believe in self-care, right? And I get
Mm-hmm.
what you mean by when you say negativity, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, some days self-care is shutting myself away from people and just
Mm-hmm.
being with my thoughts for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And on other days, it probably means not really paying too much attention to the naysayers around you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
because they have the limitations in thinking and they're not able to see your point of view, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to a lot of people, self-care is often confused with being selfish. No, it's not. Protecting yourself and your energies, and working on your self-esteem, and especially keeping away all factors which affect that, is
Mm-hmm.
really important for me. And and I believe in my abilities, and I believe in the fact that my intentions are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is something I will not allow anyone else to undermine that. And the
Mm-hmm.
minute I find myself in such company, I consciously remove myself from either the company or that kind of situation,
Mm-hmm.
because my peace of mind is very, very important to me. So that is one thing. The other thing is I surround myself with people who hold up a mirror to me and my behavior when they feel the need to, and I value their inputs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I
Mm-hmm.
go to people and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think of it? I have people um, who care for me,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever the good outcomes that that decision could have. And even if it means some kind of a feedback on how I could change or how I can be better,
Mm-hmm.
I have people who give me that, and I take it very seriously when it comes from them. So, yeah, so these are the two things that I would like to think that I've created for myself, and it's like I said, I'm an overthinker, and I'm always introspecting on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things. So, yeah, so you have no choice but to put up a brave front, a brave face,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are not made to cow down in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the universe is there forever helping you, and helping you plow through whatever uh, difficulties that you're in.
Awesome. That's an incredible piece of advice, Sam. I think, a lot of our listeners, also me, have a lot to take away from this, because, it all comes down to this, right? What kind of people are you surrounding yourself with, and how much
Yeah,
of
yeah.
time in a day that you take out for a self-care, introspect your day, what has gone right, what has gone wrong, how are you going to deal with if the same situation arises in the future. Amazing.
I want to get this last point in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, someone once told that you're an average of the five people you're surrounded with, and I think that's so true, right?
And
And considering March
mm-hmm.
8th is the International Women's Day, I
Mm-hmm.
really think we need to focus on women building other women up, right? We need to build
Absolutely.
each other up,
Yes.
and fight the other, popular beliefs that are kind of constructed around women,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And ensure that you're surrounded by other positive, happy, encouraging women, and I'm sure a
Mm-hmm.
lot aspects, many aspects of your life are going to be sorted.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your insights and your expertise with us. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to take a huge chunk of inputs and, are going to implement in their work life. Appreciate your time and also the work that you've been doing. I wish you all the success. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Vinita. It's an absolute pleasure to be, having this discussion with you, and the initiative that you've taken to and it's such a wonderful initiative. And I hope that many of us will be able to hear a lot more women in the future. And look for all things. Look forward to all things great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you.